Hello, welcome back. I thank you as always for joining me here. And what we've got in store today is a comprehensive, very important discussion, like all of them, where we're talking about nothing less than how you wake up. What else would we actually talk about in a video on A Course in Miracles? And that's what this course is for us to clarify our perception so that truth may dawn of itself. That's called awakening, enlightenment, realizing God, knowing God, liberation, realization. It's called many things in many different traditions. This is what we're talking about. Here, while we appear to be a human being, which we are really, truly not, all appearances to the contrary, because what is talking, which is actually a pixelated image on your screen, looks like a human being. When you look in the mirror, the reflection looks like a reflection of a human being. In reality, we're so much more than just that. We hear it said in many different contexts in the world that you're unlimited. You are not your limitations. You're not. We hear that from motivational speakers in business, don't we? That you're not your limitations, so let them go. They're not you. Yes, exactly. Just, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're just joining us, the essence of this course is its brilliance, that it's self-study. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. You're not going to get a list of 10 commandments. And you're not going to get an even longer list of things that you shouldn't do. There is no hierarchical structure. There is no group or sect or cult leader, not at all. There is no hierarchical structure here because Jesus, who dictated this course, is showing us, if we're willing to accept the message, that a hierarchy is impossible. One person is not superior to another, nor is he or she inferior. There is only perfect oneness, and there is no separate other. There is no separation of any kind, period. So if you're new to this material, first of all, welcome. Things may be said here on this video or any other video or any other course videos by any other instructor, frankly. You may hear things, you may read things that give you pause, that make you think, what? In instant messaging language here in the 21st century, we might type into the chat, WTAF? What is this? What are these people saying? Oh my God. I'm not a body. There is no world. There is only perfect oneness. Huh? If you're asking yourself that question, excellent, because this course exists so we may turn our perception right side up and learn to see things as they are, because when we're running amok and suffering, we don't see things as they are. There is no separation of any kind. And when we think that we're an individual, a human being, an ego, we see only separation. We see our brother, 8 billion strong, separate individuals, as competition with us, competing for what we deem to be limited and scarce resources that appear to be disproportionately distributed and consumed across this spinning ball of rock. Everything. Yet, truth simply is. Truth, God is. There is only perfect oneness. And this is true despite our insistence to the contrary. Someone denying truth does not make truth any less true. So let's talk about forgiveness and sickness, the idols of sickness, which is the last chapter here, the last section in the text that we went through. We're moving on to chapter 10, section 4 today, which is entitled The End of Sickness. And we see right off that, well, sickness and perfection are irreconcilable. God created you perfect, so you are perfect. Sickness is not reconcilable with this. Not at all. So any attempt that we appear to make here in the world to have sickness sometimes and health other times is impossible. And honestly, it's not worth our time. When you allow truth to be just as it is, you'll begin to have experiences in your life that prove to you that the teachings of this course are in fact true. This is how we really learn, not by watching a talking head or reading it in a book. Intellectual understanding does have value. Yes, it does. However, it pales in comparison to your real experience, to your practical application of these ideas. This is where the learning is in all of spirituality, no matter what tradition or traditions you practice. And if you don't practice any and you're checking this out, when and if you choose to delve into this material and you actually do it, you'll begin to discover this for yourself experientially. That's how we learn. That's how we prove it to ourselves, by doing it. You want proof? Prove it to yourself. All I can do as a teacher is point to truth. That's all any teacher can do. You experience it yourself. Then you know it's true. We're told here in paragraph 1 of this section, this is something that's completely unflattering to the ego, yet it's very much the case. God is not at war with the idols of sickness that we've made, but we are. Jesus uses the second person pronoun, you are here. God is not at war with the idols of sickness you made, but you are. Oh, yeah. So what are the idols of sickness? Well, they're images that we've made of ourselves that we take to be our reality. And we worship them. We adore them and coddle them and deem them to be us, yet at the same time, we're deeply frustrated with them, and we actually hate and loathe and despise them. They're limited. Case in point, you are not, as the Son of God, an 80% water sack and heap of bones and guts with a very finite, limited shelf life. Even if you live to be 90 or 100 years of age in this lifetime, it's still not eternal. This is not eternal. It's not the Son of God. And deep down, we all know this. Yet we run around here and we insist otherwise. We actually want to believe that this is our reality until it becomes so frustrating and so painful and so full of grief and suffering that we seek a way out, a path to peace, enter spiritual practice, of which this course is only one of many doors, one of many, all of which lead to exactly the same place. So because you're here watching this, there's a reason this material is speaking to you. When something connects for you, when something lands, understand that it is your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, speaking to you, and you would do very well indeed to listen and to do what this voice, which is known by many names, including the voice for God in the Course, suggests. Do as he suggests. Try it. See what happens. Remember, this is a self-study curriculum. We're the ones that are at war with the god of sickness, our illusions about ourselves, our social status, our body, our job title, our apparent rank in a wildly hierarchical, bizarrely orchestrated and manipulated and put together world, which when we really think about it, is kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, is it not strange and unfortunate that we would argue so vehemently for our own limitations when in reality we have no limitations at all? That's why it's so important that you're here watching this video right now, wherever you happen to find yourself. That's why it's so important, because in the midst of email and work and the kids and the dog and phone calls and the dishes and going to the bathroom, eating, sleeping, what we consider to be our lives here in the world, in the midst of all this, it's comparatively rare, isn't it, for someone to take 15 to 20 minutes out, or even 15 to 20 seconds out of this barrage of activity to really contemplate these ideas. So I thank you for doing that. It is hugely important in a way that you may not even possibly imagine, and maybe you do. If you do, good, keep doing it, because you understand the magnitude of paying attention to our inner teacher and how that has a tremendous ripple effect, a tsunami-like effect for good on the entire world. It does. Here's what happens with all of these so-called idols, these images of ourselves that we've made. When we refuse to worship them, they disappear because they're nothing. They're nothing. We're the ones that make them something. And when we withdraw our allegiance to them, they simply disappear. The ego is nothing. There is no separation of any kind. When we withdraw our allegiance that we've placed in it, it vanishes. It's never been there in the first place. Having made it, we can unmake it. We can choose to let it go. So, what is always true in spirituality is that reality, truth, can only dawn on an unclouded, on an uncluttered mind, a calm mind, a peaceful mind, a mind that is as still as you can get it. That's when reality and truth dawn on us. When our mind is uncluttered, when it's not confused, when it's not frantic or hyper or clouded at all. This is the reason why meditation and mindfulness practice are things in world spirituality. This very reason. Truth can only dawn on an unclouded mind. Now, here's something that's very happy indeed, even in the midst of all of our barrage of activity. It only takes a second, less than that even, of unclouded mind for our inner teacher to rush in. Things can happen very quickly. Will they always? No. But they may and they can, and all it takes is just an instant. So we show up, and whatever your practice looks like, if you're going through the workbook for students, when you remember the day's idea, you practice it. When you remember to forgive, you forgive. If you have a meditation practice or a yoga practice or something like that, you do it when you remember to do it. Happily for all of us, it only takes an instant, and a very highly successful and effective meditation practice can be as short as one cycle of breath. We simply let our thoughts go and place our awareness right here in the present moment on an inhale and an exhale breath, just that, which we all have time for, hopefully. And having done that for one cycle of breath, I cordially invite you to do it for the next cycle of breath. And then, should you choose, the next cycle of breath. An unclouded mind is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's said here in the Course that a tranquil mind is not a little gift. It may seem little in the midst of our wanting money, status, prestige, a better job, a younger, stronger, sleeker, sexier bod, all the things that we lust after and chase after in the world. A tranquil mind is not a little gift. It's huge. And if you've had these experiences, you will know from experience, from your personal experience, which again is how we all learn. So to know truth, to know God, to know our reality, we have to be able to judge non-reality for what it is and let it go. We have to be able to look past the appearances and let them go. See them for what they are, nothing, and let them go. So the practice of true forgiveness, as we always talk about here in the Course, which is in fact the practical centerpiece of the entire Course, it involves just this. We look past nothingness. We overlook nothingness and we let it go. We forgive it. We overlook the outward appearance and we release it. We let it go. We overlook nothingness. We let it go. Our practice of true forgiveness, as taught here in A Course in Miracles, involves a recognition. It revolves around our acknowledgement that there is no separation of any kind, and that indeed this separation between us and God, which we are reenacting here in our daily lives, never took place. And when our brother offends us, apparently, in the world, it's an opportunity for us to forgive and to overlook the surface level, what appeared to happen. There is no separate other out there. So your brother did nothing to you. So in essence, we're forgiving what he didn't do. We're overlooking the surface level and allowing ourselves to see our brother and ourselves as we really are. One with God. One. One with. We overlook the outward form and we instead focus on the essence. And we let the outward form, all of the distractions, all of the drama, we let it go. We look beyond nothingness and we let it go. Who we are is not a physical body. Deep down, we all know this. If we did not know this and acknowledge it on some level, we would never be interested in spirituality. And there appear to be many, many people, aren't there, in the world that don't look like they care about this at all. No problem. You do. That's what is important here. An interesting thing about A Course in Miracles being a self-study curriculum is that proselytization, as we see it in the world, is not involved. Nobody's out to make arguments with someone else. No one's out to convince you that their way is better and superior, because the idea of better and superior is a separation idea that means absolutely nothing. So no one is going to convince you that this is the only way. You will get direction from your inner teacher, who is a part of our mind, as to what to do, as to whether to embark on this course or not. And many of you have been at it for a long time, which means that you've heard this voice and you've answered the call. And even if you're brand new to this material, or if you've never picked up the course or looked at it online and you're just checking this out, you're still answering the call. You're interested in this amidst all of the other stuff that is available out there. Because we all know there's quite a lot. So self-study, you take under the direction of your inner teacher what you're willing to take. And I hope that you're willing to go far, all the way, and to forgive the world, to forgive yourself for dreaming it. Don't forget that. To forgive your brother, to forgive everything that appears, the world itself, space-time, the ego, it's nothing. Overlook nothing and let it go. Forgive and release. Forgive and release. So along the way here, as we study and practice this material, it doesn't take too long to recognize that this is really deep stuff. You deserve nothing less. I would never pretend to waste your time with surface level stuff. There's another word for stuff there that starts with an S in the English language. I think you know what it is. Yeah. There's all of the additional drama is just fluff. What you deserve and merit and, well, deserve is perfect happiness. So will you allow yourself to experience perfect happiness? This course does not mess around. It points to truth. And the question for each and every one of us is, are we going to listen to our inner teacher right now? Because he is speaking to you. Look, he's speaking to you right now. This is a pixelated image on your screen. Who's really doing the talking here, especially as things land and connect and you feel it on an intuitive gut level, perhaps. So along the way, questions are more than welcome. And I would like to take the opportunity here as we wrap up today, just to invite you to not only ask questions here on YouTube, because this is a great forum for discussion, but also if you have subject matter related to your spiritual practice or the study of this course that you'd like me to cover, I am more than happy to take a pause out of our procession through the text of A Course in Miracles, which in time will appear to go on for quite a while. We're on chapter 10 out of 31 after all, and even then we won't be done. End? Ha, what end, right? This is something that I've done recently, and there were some very, very good subjects proposed. So if you've got an item, whether it's forgiveness or miracles or something that is on your mind as a practical matter, I'm more than happy to take one of these video sessions and discuss that question or that item in detail as a special request. I'm always open to that. So let me put that out there today. If you've got something that you'd like to see me cover at some point here, let me know, and I will. It'll be very, very easy to work that in. Now, if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. I'd love to have you join us. This is the subscription button here. It looks like an arrow. Just click or hover over that, and you'll be prompted to subscribe. And when you do, what you'll get is, well, a series of several videos a week for consistency's sake, because we're all about changing our perception and writing it, which means developing the consistent habit of forgiving the Son of God. When you do, you're forgiving yourself. There is no separation of any kind. So I thank you, as always, for tuning in. If you've got questions or a subject that you'd like me to cover here, again, please let me know, and I will talk to all of you very soon.